Hello and welcome to Sport for Business, where we're joined as part of our series looking at each of the four proud provinces of Ireland by Neil Hanna, who is Head of Commercial at Ulster Rugby. Welcome back to Sport for Business, Neil.
Morning, Rob. Good to be back.
It has been some 18 months, but finally, last weekend, we managed to get big crowds back into the provincial stadium, including at Kingspan Stadium. Just before we go into the positives of the future, tell us a little bit about the challenges that you've faced at Ulster Rugby over the past year and a half that we could never have imagined.
Yeah, it's been certainly an 18 months that we won't forget quickly. Look, like everybody, it was at the start, it was just about trying to make sure that we were all safe and getting everybody together and looking after our colleagues and our community. But then in time, it turned to, well, how can we then turn this into a positive, or what positives can we look for within the situation? I think for me, what stands out most over the last 18 months has been the strength of our partnerships with all of our sponsors and partners. When I look back, I remember somebody at the start saying that you'll understand very quickly who your partners are. And you know what? I remember at the time thinking, well, I think I know who our partners are. I think that's all of them. And actually, what has been really heartening over the last 18 months is to see the support that we have had from across our sponsors and partners. We've worked really well together, and I suppose, ultimately we had to be flexible, and we learned on the strength of those relationships, and we found a way to work through together. I think one of the other things that stood us in really good stead, Rob, was that we had a lot of shared common goals with our partners. So that actually made it easier to work together and find opportunities where we could add value for both parties. So that was a real positive to come out of the last 18 months, if you like. And I think it's only strengthened those relationships and set us up in a really good position to really drive on now over the coming months as we emerge, hopefully, from the pandemic into some form of normality again.
It is often when you're tested that you find that strength and just how strong the relationships are. So that's great to hear that it has been, because you've got a fairly blue chip slate of companies that are partners with you. From Kingspan, obviously, on the front of the shirt and the stadium, Bank of Ireland, Deloitte, Heineken, who you announced just last week as extending their partnership with you as well. Was the conversation that you had with the partners all the way through, was it initiated by you, or was it really a coming together? Because everybody had been having a tough time of this.
I think one of the things we pride ourselves on is the communication with our partners and those close bonds. So I don't think it was ever a case of having to initiate the conversation. It was just a continuation of an ongoing conversation. So it was really understanding where we were at and the position we found ourselves in. And as I said, looking for opportunities where we could add value for both brands. I think what was really encouraging was the support that we were shown by our partners throughout the last 18 months. Because, as you mentioned, we have a broad range of sponsors and partners. And, as has been across the pandemic, there have been certain industries that have fared better than others. So there was some industries who were able to support us, and there was others where we were able to support our partners. So it was really it was a bit of give and take across the board, but ultimately we found a way to make it work, and we found a way, I think, to add value on both sides of the coin.
It's been an exciting time with the launch of the new United Rugby Championship. We've got the big South African teams that are coming in and will be arriving up to play in Kingspan and all across Europe as well. Big opening weekend last weekend when you had the stands filling up nicely with fans as well. How important do you think it is that the new format of the competition is a success, and how much importance do you put in it from an Ulster Rugby perspective in comparison to the Heineken Cup, which is obviously great for the high days, but this is the bread and butter stuff of week in, week out. How confident are you that this is being pitched at exactly the right level?
Look, I'm really excited about the new brand. I think it's bigger. I think it's bolder. I think it's a real statement of intent. And look, you hit the nail on the head there. The Heineken Champions Cup. That is those are your peaks in the season that you look forward to. They're the dates on the calendar. But we also need the United Rugby Championship to be just as successful. We need to have fans enthused about coming to Kingspan Stadium to see ultimately really competitive fixtures week in, week out. We need all the teams to be really putting their hands up. We need that jeopardy on a weekly basis. That's what really drives engagement and enthusiasm. So for us, it's about having, I suppose, the fact that there'll be no fixtures on international weekends now. So you'd like to think that you'll see all of the marquee players on a weekly basis in the league. We need to see those really competitive fixtures returning on a cold Friday night at Kingspan Stadium. That's what fans. That's what really drives the interest and engagement. So for us, that's massive. It's massive. I think. Look, I'm really also excited about the broadcast model for the league. I think it's really important that we're back on free to air and we get as many eyeballs on the product as possible, because it's such a powerful marketing tool for the league. And I think when the fans when they see hopefully the improved product and the brand that we're putting out there, I just think it all adds to a real excitement, enthusiasm about hopefully a really great product this year.
Yeah, the easier it is to see, the more conversations it starts, the more engagement it has with people as well, and that filters through into the club and the domestic game as well as at the highest level. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the initiatives which you might be putting in place now with some of the partners ahead of the new season?
I would probably rather not go into the specifics, but I think certainly for us, one of the key initiatives across the board will be, I suppose, trying to grow the game at all levels now. So we're working with our key partners there to really try and invest in the game as a whole. So really not just focusing on the professional game, but at the grassroots levels too. We really want to make sure that we re-engage with audiences out there as well. It's been a difficult 18 months, and at the start it was trying to keep those audiences engaged, and now it's trying to re-engage with them, get them back to the stadium and get them enthused about rugby at all levels, which is really important for us across the organisation. I think I suppose specifically to Ulster Rugby, we've invested quite heavily in our digital platforms over the last year. So I suppose there's a couple of different reasons for that. We really want to, I suppose, know our fans and better understand our fans, but we also then, I suppose, we want to really enrich our platforms to allow us to really engage those fans and interact with them on a better level. And I suppose, if I'm being selfish within it all, I suppose that ultimately will provide better commercial opportunities for our partners. So it's a really exciting time for us, and we see a lot of opportunity out there. And I think certainly so do our partners. And I think watch this space. There'll be a lot to come.
Look forward to following up on those. You did a great job during the course of it, because of course you had the opportunity to allow fans back in a little bit ahead of your colleagues in the Republic of Ireland. And I can remember you had that reshaped kind of membership where you could register and get involved in the lottery for some of those early short number of tickets. So that increased engagement with fans, the increased knowledge and the data is something which is definitely going to be of benefit. Look, it has been a pleasure chatting to you. Great to get the season up underway, and the very best of luck with the rest of the year ahead. We look forward to dropping in on you again to follow up on some of those promotions and the initiatives that you're building out with those relationships with your commercial partners. But for the moment, Neil Hanna, Head of Commercial up in Ulster Rugby, thanks very much for taking the time.
Thank you, Rob.